What's going on, guys? Today we're taking a look at Dragon Eclipse, which is a deck building strategy roguelite where you collect mistlings, which are these little creatures, and then you're going to build a deck to use alongside those little creatures during your run. Now, to me, this game is sort of like a mashup between Slay the Spire and Pokemon. Now, Dragon Eclipse is still in early access, and as you can see from my version in the bottom right, this is an early version. And there's going to be things that are going to stick out, and it's going to look a little rough around the edges, but this one definitely has some promise. With that, I did want to thank Stardust for providing me with a key to the game and sponsoring this overview video. With all that out of the way, let's talk about the actual game. So the way the game works is that you're going to head out on a run, just like you would any other roguelite, and you're going to complete battles around a map. And as you complete each battle, you have this timer that's ticking down until the quote eclipse is here. The eclipse marks the end of your run, and it's going to immediately send you into a boss fight. Now we'll talk about the boss fight later because we have other things we need to discuss first. So the battles that are littered around the map will range from easy to hard to elite. When you engage with them, you're launched into a battle screen where you're going to command your mistlings to fight. Now this is where the deck building systems of Slay the Spire come into play. So here you're given an amount of energy to use each turn, and then each card will cost a specific amount to play. You're going to take turns playing cards and dishing out damage to the opponent. Now these opponents aren't real players, right? They're just AI, but you're going to take turns kind of going back and forth dishing out damage. But the combat has a lot more depth than just playing cards and letting things battle for you. Each mistling has its own signature card that's just slotted into your deck, and it'll be randomly pulled out as you draw cards each turn to refill your hand. It has its own activation ability. Each mistling has its own effect, strength, and health. Now, activation abilities, these are used at the end of each turn, and they can range from extra damage to applying debuffs to doing all sorts of different things to kind of make your run a little bit easier. Now, effects are special buffs or debuffs that'll activate when a criteria is met. You even have some that are like reviving. So if this particular mistling happens to faint, then it'll self-revive one time, that type of stuff. And then lastly, we have strength. This is the amount of damage that a mistling's attack will deal. These can be augmented with effects, consumables, blessings, or buffs. So naturally, this is a great transition. Let's talk about those next. Once a battle is over and you've won, you're going to be given mistberries. Mistberries are a currency to spend on either new cards for your deck or blessings for your mistlings. Now these blessings will last for the full run, and they will provide that particular mistling with some unique effects. This is another layer of strategy that the game offers, and you're going to need to sort of weave together blessings to make your creatures as effective as possible. Every time you purchase a blessing for a creature, the cost of the next blessing will go up. So naturally, if you take and say, I want to put all my blessings on my first creature, then it's going to be incredibly expensive. If you want to spread them out over all of your team, which is all three of them, then it's going to be a cheaper alternative, but each one will be obviously less powerful. So again, this is where strategy decision making is going to come into play. But the thing with these blessings is that there is a surprise tucked away. Once a creature has received 4 blessings, it's going to evolve into a more powerful version of itself. This is sort of where the Pokemon thing comes into play, right? This new version will upgrade its signature card. It'll also gain a new effect. Now, my favorite mistling out of all of them so far has been Galaxos. This is a meditating turtle that can stack up shields insanely quick, which makes it perfect as a frontline tank to soak damage and let the rest of my mistlings just barrage and bombard opponents from behind this like massive impenetrable wall that is Galaxos. Now, at the start, you're going to have access to only 4 mistlings, but there are more to collect by completing runs and leveling up, which rewards you with an egg. Now, these eggs do have special objectives you need to complete before they hatch, but once they do, you'll have a new permanent mistling for you to use each run. Now, these objectives can range from kill 25 of this particular creature. It could be something like you need to have 9 different blessings on a single creature for a full run, which is intense. So you do have these different criteria that are going to come into play in order for you to hatch these eggs and gain access to new mistlings. But mistlings aren't the only thing that you can get to pick in order to alter your run. You can also pick Tamers. Now, Tamers are characters that come with special abilities to help you. The first one you get makes your first card purchase after a victory free, which is super powerful for building a strong deck because you don't have to worry about splitting your mist berries between purchasing a card or purchasing a blessing. Instead, you can just focus all of your mist berries onto blessings and then get a free card that you get to pick each and every time. Now, there is a downside to this. This is something I discovered early on. It's not advisable to just pick a card every single time. Your deck will become too large and then you won't have access to the cards as you need them. For instance, when I was in a battle, I really needed some shields to put on my mistlings, and because my deck had grown too large, I just didn't have access to that and it ended up dying. So it was not great. Definitely a learning opportunity for me. Now, the second one you get is going to give you 20 free mist berries when you start your run. Now, this is the opposite side. This is incredibly powerful for getting a jump start on evolving your team and picking out multiple blessings after your first victory. So altogether, there are 6 different characters and 10 different mistlings to collect. So if you stick with it and continue making runs, you're gonna have a lot of stuff to unlock, tinker with, and eventually build around. Now, throughout your run across the map, you're also going to come across totems, which provide a one-time boost, a campsite, which can be used to revive or enhance your party in exchange for gold, or merchants who will also sell cards or food in exchange for gold. So let's talk about food really quick. Food comes in 2 varieties. 1, a permanent boost, which will last for your entire run, or 2, something that lasts until the end of a battle or until the end of a turn. So there's more of like a temporary one and more of a permanent one. Take these into account as you're looking at the prices, but also the effects of food. So food is very powerful and it's something that I highly recommend looking into, but just be aware of the limitations with each one. Now let's get back to the boss fights. So boss fights do have some variety, and so far I've only seen 2. One is much harder than the other one. So in the first Eclipse, I had to fight a mere Tamer who had illusions of the mistlings that I was using. Now I almost won, but that was a brutal, brutal battle. The whole kind of reminded me of like the mirror Zelda back in Ocarina of Time, and that whole fight, sort of the same thing. Now the second time around, I got this alien looking boss that was much easier to predict and defeat, and it just seemed like the 2 of them, there was a big discrepancy between their effectiveness and how hard it was to battle against them. Now, once you beat a boss, your run is over and you're going to begin collecting experience. As you collect your experience, you're going to see a little level bar go across. You'll also unlock the next difficulty level. So for those who want an even bigger challenge, you can go and tackle that. But as you unlock different things using that experience, you're going to unlock new eggs, you're going to unlock cards that get added to your deck and added to your runs. You'll also unlock new characters. So completing runs is primarily how you're going to unlock more content for the game, which makes sense. Now overall, my impressions of the game are positive. You can definitely tell this game is in its early stages because there are things that are rough around the edges. Movement is very stiff, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it fought against me at times. It was difficult to sort of move around and navigate the map. It felt more like tank controls, you know, walk straight and then turn and then walk straight and then turn. It just wasn't, you know, smooth. There were some typos, and the game needs some more oomph for each run in terms of map variety as well as battle variety. So they're in early stages. All of that being said, the gameplay loop and strategy is fun, especially the evolution system. As a huge Pokemon fan, it's fun seeing 1, what they turn into and what they look like, but 2, what special passive effects they unlock. Once I unlocked the next evolution of Galaxos, that was my go-to, because the passive that he unlocks is incredible, where he gets to retain all of the shields that you stacked up on him, which means you can continue to just invest more and more and more shields onto this guy. Instead of him losing them all at the end of his round, he continues to have them. And when that happens, he's going to be an impenetrable wall that just sits in front of your team. So all of that kind of plays into the strategy of the game, as well as what decisions you want to make as you're going through the game. So overall, if you're someone who enjoys deck building, roguelites, or collect-em-all games, this is definitely one I would keep my eye on, add to your wish list, and even better, you can start playing Dragon Eclipse when it enters early access on June 24th on Steam. So if you're somebody who likes any of those type of games, any of those type of genres, get out there, give this one a try, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Again, thank you all so much for watching. This has been Vulkan, and I'll talk to you guys next time.